This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a big warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend podcast, where this weekend we've got Newmarket, Haydock, the Rose of Lancaster, and the Curragh, the Phoenix Stakes. Joining me to discuss these races and best bets are clockwise. I don't know how you said clockwise. Left to right, right to left. John Lane. Good evening, John.
When you say clockwise, is this your first one that you mentioned is the one you most want to clock?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So, John Lane, good evening, John, and good evening to Quentin Franks and Andy Richmond. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Yes, hopefully we'll be able to get some winners this weekend and some interesting action, to say the least. We'll get straight on with the best bets then. And John, I'm going to come straight to you first of all for your third best.
It won't surprise you to know that my third best bet is at my local red car.
Yeah, I kind of expected that. Go on.
This is in the 435, and this is Happy Tim's Red Astaire.
Ah, yeah.
This one spent most of his working life slogging around this shithole. But for one foray to Carlisle, which didn't particularly suit. Slightly elongated break since then. It was the run before that interested me, where he gained his mark as an unfancied 18-1 poke behind Knightswood, round here over 10. He's a Cheveley Park bred horse, what also attracted my attention. He's out of Russian rhythm, and this ought to be his trip. I think this week race is probably tailor-made for him. He's very, very backable at 12s each way, sadly, so I'm going to wanker him, I'm afraid.
Are you wankering for half a point each way at 12s?
I am, yes.
With the Kurtz, with Denise?
Yes, good evening, Denise.
Yes.
Sure, every listener.
3 pegs for John, 12s with the Stoke outfit. Good luck with that, John. Red Astaire for Happy Tim at his Lurkle. Quentin Franks, I'm going to come to you for your third best.
My third best comes in the sweet Solera Lee. I'll have my 1 point on Nova Kai. Colbert trained and Clifford Lee up. Suitable figure on debut, slow early pace, sectional upgrade on there, fast finishing speed, and it doesn't really look a deep Group 3, to be honest. You've got Ivory Madonna, who kind of fluffed her copybook, win a skinny price in a HQ novice the other week. Lady Alara was well positioned off a strong pace at Sandown. Alassou run of the race in a steadily run affair at Newmarket. That form is middling, and the rest don't really appeal on the clock and on the form, to be honest. She's been nibbled away in the market. She's under the 30. I had a bit shorter, a shade under 5-2. The main market rivals, obviously, Lakota Sioux, but she flashes her tail, and I just can't have her. I don't like tail flashes, and I'm quite happy to give her a swerve at the price. So 1 point with no high.
Good stuff. 7-2 with Baldy. If you can get on with a billiard ball, Nova Kai there for Quentin. Big stride on this filly. I really do.
Has it been measured?
Yeah, it has actually. Stride form. I think I've seen this, and if I'm quoting this wrong, then strike me down. It's 24.48, which suggests. Like really, it wants a mile now at 2.
Suggest to me, I don't know what the fuck stride form is.
Stride form.
Is that 8 yards, meters?
I mean, obviously, it's the bigger the stride in essence, and the slower the what's the word, the
Haydock.
Yeah, that's it. I lost the word.
Like when Sam Harley used to say, "Bear, that could cover some ground."
Yeah. You see, that's it. I mean, this is the language we like. It's straightforward and it's easy to understand. None of this cadence nonsense and yeah, it literally is. Yeah, that cunt covers some ground. So another cry for Quentin. I think he's possibly right on that, and I'd only think a crawl would probably get it beat, but I don't really see that happening. So Novakai for Quentin, 1.7-2 with the billiard ball. Andy Richmond, coming to you.
Right. Well, tomorrow's racing is such pish.
It is.
I've had to go to Sunday.
All right, fair play.
Such pish tomorrow. A few points on tomorrow before we get on to the 1 pointer. What is the point of having the racing league? I always call them the human league. I want to call it sometimes. The Sunday series and the Shergar Cup all within 4 days. Now, what genius thought that up?
It is a bit overkill.
Absolutely ridiculous. And just to digress slightly, why not nights with the racing league? Why are we not educating? If we have got all these new people, which I don't believe for a minute, why are we not educating about betting for a start?
Yes.
On some of the TV shows who are riding the biggest pissing gravy train ever, and the colours. Why do we have to have team colours? It must be a nightmare for the commentators. Hats off to all of them, especially Andy and Ennis last night and whoever's doing the Shergar Cup, because you explain a colour to people.
Another point with that, Andy, as well. We have the colours, but in the racing post, it doesn't say what fucking team they're in.
I couldn't give a shit what team they're in, to be quite honest with you.
No, but if they're going to be in different colours and push the team aspect, it's for them new to know what team they're actually in.
I couldn't give a toss if it was a 7-1 winner. It could be trained on fucking Timbuktu for all I care. It will never work. There's a few other points about the Shergar Cup which I shall make under my 2-point bet, which is actually at Ascot, but it's only because a certain person is riding it. Anyhow, let's crack on. The 1 pointer is going to be Rambuso Creek in the 4:45 at Haydock on Sunday in the Sunday series, which I think is actually very good, apart from the time it's on, which is not really conducive, is it? But
not for families, no.
But fair play to the boys at Sky Bet for sticking the old dough in, and I actually quite like some of the stuff they've done around that, some of the features and stuff like that. I think is pretty decent. And if we're going to go down the route of sticking money into things like this, that's probably the best of them. Anyhow, Rambuso Creek, I thought he ran a really good race, penultimate race. It was at Beverley when he came 4th of 10 over 5 furlongs, and they never got a run, basically. I think Kevin Stott decided to take the inside route at Beverley, which sometimes is never the best thing to do, and he just couldn't get through. And he was trying to follow up his first win there, which I thought was pretty good when he came back, first time back from wind surgery. He then ran last time out at Pontefract, which was a pretty decent run. It was one of those days when he tried to come from off the pace. It was one of those when we've sort of reverted to original Pontefract, where it's hard to come from off the pace, and he couldn't catch the front runner. Still think he's in pretty good form. It's stepping him up to 6 furlongs, which I think he stays. He's only ever had one go at it. But you're always in that lap of the gods with the draw aspect at Haydock as well, to know what Kirkland's done with the old watering can. But 1 point, 7-1 seems fair enough to me. Rambuso Creek.
No, good stuff in savage form. Interesting that you say about the trip, Andy, because I've always thought Rambuso Creek very laid back individual. So I've always found it very strange that you see these 5 furlong types be like really wired up and things, and he's not that sort of type. He's very laid back and takes things.
Travels well. In his race, nice. I think he's better than his mark. And he just, that wind surgery might. He's been the last 2 runs. I think the race just hasn't fallen right for him. And I just think, it's good. 50. I think it's 15 runners in the race. It needs to fall right. But I thought 7-1 wasn't the worst. And I say tomorrow's racing is not to the best.
Fair play. Fair play for that. So that's Andy's 1 point on Rambuso Creek on Sunday at Haydock at the 7-1. I'm a very disappointing beast this week, and my 1 point bet goes in the 130 at the Curragh, and Al Rifar for the Baby Joseph. I think the Baby Joseph will land the first two, and I want my bets this week. I want people to do them in trebles. I genuinely, I'm strong on all three. 5-4, Paddy Power Betfair, Al Rifar. I know they think a lot about the one that won Hans Andersen at the Curragh, and this horse did everything wrong and would have beaten it on any other day had it done things right. I don't see 5-4 lasting. I know the lads have got Boy Scout in there for Brian Moore. If that's better than that, then
Inside Boy Scouting nuts.
Yeah, I mean, let's say Boy Scouts I'd be amazed if that beats that. I just will. So anything odds against Al Rifar, get stuck in. That's my 1 point win bet. 5-4 Paddy Power Betfair for the McMonigle for the Baby Joseph. Okay, swing it back round. Andy, coming straight back to you for your 2 point.
Okay, despite my fears over the Shergar Cup, which I know we're going to give a fairly wide berth to. Fair play. People like it, they like it. That's fair enough. I'm not going to moan to man. There's 8 races this year. I did think again, just to slightly. I did think that James Knight made an excellent point on Twitter this morning about the use of reserves there. That there are at least 2 races where you just can't have a bet. Absolutely. Because if the reserve comes in, it's going to completely flip the market. And I thought that was an excellent point, and that's something they really do need. If they're going to carry it on, it's been going, 23 years now? If they are going to do it, then you do need to think about that aspect of it, because you can stick a reserve in up to 45 minutes before the race. It's crazy. So I thought that was an excellent point. And again, the same point with the Racing League. Where's all the education around it? Do we know who's coming back to racing, all these things? No, we don't. John always makes that point, and I fully agree with him. There's absolutely no research done on that to say that it's actually growing racing, and the betting angle, again, will get completely forgotten. But, it's a dirty word, betting, at the moment, isn't it?
It is. They don't believe in the product.
Hey-ho. Right, we are going to go to the Shergar Cup, 3:55 at Ascot, Beau Pedro. Now, the last time out was his first run for Mr. O'Mara, ridden by Danny Tudhope, and this time we've actually dropped quite lucky because we got Frank Spencer's on this time.
Yes.
And he does ride the old trip to Ascot exceptionally well. Now, the sectionals and the pace map told the story of the race on Saturday that I want to focus on with Beau Pedro. He had little or no chance in that 1 mile, a Porsche handicap, which was run at a criminally slow pace through the first 5 furlongs until the pace quickened up in the final 3. In that scenario, as we all know, it's highly unlikely that horses coming from off the pace, such as Beau Pedro, are going to have much of a chance. And so it proves, so much so that despite running around the last 3 furlongs in 35.19 seconds, a time faster than the 3 that beat him, this was his first run for the O'Mara yard since leaving Jesse Harrington for 80,000 guineas. I'd be surprised if he didn't add to his winning tally up to a mile in a handicap, hopefully more strongly run than this one. He certainly ran a fine race against an obvious pace bias here. O'Mara has a good record with horses of a similar profile. Couple of points on him at around 7-1 with Mr. Spencer on board will be my sole bet in the Shergar Cup.
Lovely stuff. I like your case. I do. I think that's a really good case you made. Beau Pedro, second start for O'Mara. And Frank on board.
There's actually another one that I like in the Shergar Cup. Unfortunately, we've got Ailey Turner riding it, so I'm backing that. Oh, Jesus Christ!
It could be worse. You could have the Canadian Quentin, Emma Jane Wilson in the saddle.
The horse is actually, it's been backed off the board. It's a horse called Manakan, ran really well at Chester last time when they overwatered the. They tried to do a Pontefract, haven't they? Which they've done at the last couple of meetings there, where I'm not sure the old waterings. I think they've overwatered the inside, which is like a swamp now, and everything's wheeling around the outside on the hair rail. Watch the last 2 Chester meetings. It's really like that.
It is. Chester's absolutely knackered it up.
Yeah.
Well, Pedro, two points
for
Andy at 7. Come back to me again. So I like to be very disappointing to you all.
You certainly disappointed a man on Twitter this week. He was calling you out, wasn't he?
So yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, seriously.
Oh, you.
Yeah, you're shit. You're shit. Yeah, you're shit. I agree.
You've got to get all the critical people as a special on the show. We'll clear the decks. You can host it, or I'll host it.
Yeah.
And all the critical people can come on and have a go at tipping for a week. There you go.
Yeah, it's not easy. So anyway, the second one in my treble this week, but again for staking purposes, 205 race at the Curragh. Madly Truly again for the baby Josie, 5-2 with Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Betfair, and Sporting Index. They've decided to price up. Good old Sporting Index. But yeah, Madly Truly shaped brilliantly, I thought, at Leopardstown. Finished in front of Unless, despite having a worse trip. Got chopped off on the rail. Finished with absolute gusto in the closing stages. I'm convinced this is a very useful horse. Physically, I really like Madly Truly. And yeah, there's nothing not to like about it. I think it'll improve a lot for debut. I was quite surprised at the tenderness of the ride actually on debut. It was tender to say it had a sort of a nice position early. He conceded ground. He let things happen in front of him. He wasn't too interested. But yeah, it came on really strongly. So Madly Truly, I think is going to improve plenty stones for that debut. So 5-2 is absolutely ginormous. I shall be getting stuck into that. And as always, you could run into one. We know what these Curragh maidens can be like. Delightful makes its debut for the lads. So who knows? You might end up running into any Phillies mile winner. It could be anything you end up running into. But yeah, Madly Truly, I really liked as a horse physically and everything. So I was very confident. So 2 points win for me at 5-2.
I could give you a little negative stat on the horse you mentioned there, Delightful, and one on Salt Lake City. Aidan O'Brien, with his unraced Galileo 2-year-olds, has got a shocking record first time out. 10 from 116.
Which is dreadful.
I'll quote the 8% strike rate, but that's bollocks because we hate those. And you should always quote the winners above expected, which is I'm going to start a campaign soon to get them on telly to put it in context, because I've heard so many bad stats this week. Absolute rubbish. I even heard somebody say this afternoon that the progeny of Dandyman are having a good year. What a load of horse nuts that was.
Yeah.
And for 10 from 142. And if you'd have backed all of them, you'd be losing. I don't know. I had the figures here. You'd be losing substantially. So
lazy punditry.
Well, yeah, exactly. I won't say who it was, but it was. There has been many examples this week. But I'm not saying these are going to get beat. But Salt Lake City Delightful would have the stats against them: 10 from 116, the unraced 2-year-olds from Galileos from the O'Brien yard. In fact, if you'd have backed them all over the years, you'd have been doing 51 points at SP.
Aye, we're doing it on the Galileos. Good stuff, Andy.
They'll probably both go and win now, but
I know it's
notably short price ones, which I've laid. I've not laid the big price ones, but the shorter ones, I always think it's a little bit of a negative.
Good stuff. Quentin, coming to you, please.
My best bet comes in the 7:15 at Ayr, 6 furlong 2-year-old maiden race. It's a poor race, in all honesty. I had to keep checking the race was over 6 furlongs. I was surprised they kept Tyrone's Poppy to this. Well, dropped Tyrone's Poppy back in trip, given how quickly he finished off a suicidal gallop last time out at Catterick. But he's one I want to be against. The time was poor that day. He caught the eye and they put him in short enough in the market. The one I want on side is Thank You Appreciate. Green on debut at first, slightly slowly away on the back foot and gradually kept on well enough. Improved for that for Ayr, took a decent posse up, travelled, found trouble about a furlong out, and then another bit of trouble around 50 yards from home. Time looks fine. Form's middling. The Dodds thing went and won the Goodwood Nursery, which isn't a strong nursery. A couple have been beaten in behind. Physically, he's one even that's going to keep on improving with racing. The other rivals, Penalty Charge, very small and lacks substance. They gelded him, put the visor on. Not sure there's much more to come there. Farhy thing's going to need nurseries. The Wolford horse was down the slower inside at Southall, but that form took a knock at Brighton today, and that's going to need a longer trip. There's not much depth to this. The John Quinn horse, we're not really here. That's already been beaten by my one, and then shaped again like 7 furlongs would be needed when outsped at Caderick. The Dodds' other horse, Mondialiste, has a poor record first time out. I don't think Michael Dodds has had a first time out winner this season. The main danger is probably the Kevin Ryan horse, who's related to a 88 rated winner of Handicap and a Group 3 winner in Italy. But 7-2 is overpriced for Thank You Appreciate.
No, good stuff. A great case made, because if Thank You Appreciate just steps forward slightly from those first 2 efforts, you'd be thinking that Kevin Ryan's will probably have to run to, going on 80 to win that, Quentin. Would I be right in saying that?
Yep, 80, low 80s you'll probably have to run to with a £3 claim as well. So, yeah.
No.
7-2. Sadly, only one firm up, but 7-2 is more than fair.
That will do. 7-2. 2 points for Quentin. Thank you. Appreciate. Of Nigel Tinkle, 7:15 air. Thank you very much. John Lang.
Again, sadly predictable. This one is in the 5-10 at Redcar. And equally predictable, it's another one for Happy Tim. This is Prophesize. This one's took a couple of runs to get fit this season, and since then has been a model of consistency without actually getting his head in front. Certainly been hitting his mark the last 3 terms, and in contests like this, which, I mean, they have one of these miles and 6 races every fixture at Redcar, and they could run them in a farmyard because they're full of geese. And hitting the mark is usually enough, and that should see us in the payout queue. I think Tim shoved a claimer up this time as well, and I think the £3 might just be enough to get Prophesize's head in front. I'm going to have to each way a wank of the horse, because there might be a little doubt whether he'll put his head in front, but I think it's very, very solid each way proposition in this race.
One each way, 7-1, 4 places, John, with the Kurtz.
Beautiful.
Only thing I'll say this, though, you might have two things, either a rule 4, because you've got the cock watchers in as 5-4-5. They're trying to land McIver's Feeds £100,000 bonus.
Oh, they off.
They scrambled in today at Thirsk. They obviously won at Catterick, so now they're going back to the Lurkle, where they disappointed on stable debut, but obviously the race didn't work out. It was too slowly run, but a slowly run race will probably get it beat, as we saw on first run for the Omari Yard. But an interesting thing, John, do you think the feed man can survive if the cock watchers take the $100,000 off him?
He might put a contract out on them when they've got to 4 winners.
It might go missing like Shergar.
Yeah. Up in a container in Runcorn. Indeed.
That finishes the 2-point round, so I'm going to quickly kick on with the 3-pointers. Again, more disappointment from me. I'm having to tip at the Shergar Cup. I mean, I said I wouldn't. I said it's not for me, this gig. But I've found my very best bet runs here. 4:30 race, the mile and a half race. The Shergar Cup Classic Handicap. Hamake of the shirt. 4-1. Frank Spencer. I'm hoping this doubles up with Andy's.
Oh yeah.
Frank has a good day for once.
We better get Frank for top jock then.
Yeah. And I mean, Hamaki has got absolutely shed fulls in hand for me, because I think he's done I had a good bet on the Gosden horse to beat Hamaki last time. Was it the I think it was the Decorated Knight one, the Knight of Honour, and I was absolutely gutted because the yard fancied it strongly. The yard were saying this is very well enough 87. Blah, you get the old blah, and the my times backed it up, and I thought Knight of Honour will win. And I was very confident at the 9 to 4, 2 to 1 in the morning. Had a monster bet. It didn't win. Hamaki did it. Completely outfinished it in the closing stages. Steps up to 1.5 miles for the first time. And I think that will see the required improvement to defy the £5. I would be very surprised if anything has got any more in hand than Hamaki in this race. I mean, yes, I have been touched off a few times this year, but I think Hamaki is the biz at 1.5 miles. If Spencer gets it right, it's a good draw in stall 7, and I expect Hamaki to do the biz. So 4 to 1, 3 points on the noggin for me to kick things off as a maximum bet and get that treble on. If you want to do a Trixie as well, get the Trixies and trebles on. I really like my 3, and I'm due. I've had a lot of shit bets, so I'm bound to get something right. There we go. Okay, next, Andy Richmond coming to you for your Big Macs.
Right, I've got to go back to Sunday. I've got to go back to my local, Haydock, and I've got to say this horse has been unlucky on 2 occasions now. Well, probably the first occasion, but Have Secret of the scaffolders fame, or the scaffolders friends fame, Richard Fahey. The horse on his penultimate run was 4th of 12 at Pontefract on a day when the track had reverted to normal, that you just couldn't come from off the pace, and he was drawn widest of all, 12 of 12. Son of Havana Gold, he had very little chance of making his mark. I thought he was a really good bet at Chester last Sunday? I think it was actually. Back up in trip to 7 furlongs. And he just completely blew the start. I mean, this thing must have been 10 lengths behind with about probably 2.5 furlongs to go, and nearly ran down the winner. I mean, if you didn't mark this performance up, you must have been Stevie Wonder. And the winner came from a stable which has been in cracking form, David Evans's yard, Kiss and Cuddle. Ran quite a decent race again next time out.
It did into a headwind as well.
Yeah. And the Evans yard's been on fire, actually. If you look at their winners above expected, they were over the last 28 days, they were one of the leading yards in the country. I think only Mick Appleby had a better than that. And Julie Camacho is another yard to keep an eye on as well, under that metric as well, which I particularly like because it shows up people who are really informed rather than just relying on bare old strike rates. Anyhow, back to Have Secret. The dear old thing only got beaten ahead in the end, and I thought I've got to back this thing again next time out. He turns up on Sunday, 5:45 at Haydock. Please don't blow the start. The horse is obviously very talented. Even the run at Pontefract was very, very promising. I think that was a decent maiden/novice. And it certainly was a good run last weekend. If you haven't seen the race, go and have a look at it, because if you didn't know you obviously didn't know the result, you think this thing probably had finished about 4th or 5th. So I saw a bit of 3 to 1, 3 points on the nose, 3 to 1. Have Secret, 5:45 on Haydock in the old Sunday series.
Good stuff. 3 to 1, 3 points. And Andy, I'm sorry for you there, and I'm not in the best of form this season. It was a Jimmy Linley for me, the Have Secret. Not because it wasn't an unbuzzer, but it was just so eye-catching to what you've just said.
I mean, you just looked at it and thought, I mean, for people who haven't seen it, just go and watch it. I'm amazed how he got so near.
Yeah, he's definitely...
He's obviously got... and even it's the run at Pontefract as well. You'll see exactly what I mean, because it did run really well there. It was
it wasn't
a very decent run, that fourth from an outside draw. Didn't have any chance. The track, the Pontefract, we know what it's like. It's reverted. The second had won the time before. Hasn't been much. There's been horses come out and run out of the race. It's not the strongest one, but it looked a decent race. And I say, from where he was, I mean, the first 3 were the descriptions were close up, led, and then prominent. I mean, he had no chance where he came from, but he was slow away. So hopefully don't blow the start. If you've got the option, it might be worth saving a couple of quid to back the bugger in running.
Yeah, like you say, get off the pace and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's certainly a colt to look forward to.
Yeah.
I think in the autumn, etc. I do think he'll go forwards. Good nap, Andy. 3 points at threes on the Sabbath for you there. Okay, we've got two to come now. John and Quentin. I'm going to go to John first.
Those who were getting bored with the continual Redcar selections, please either bear with me or fuck off. It doesn't really matter. This one, again, terribly predictable. It's a 252 at Redcar, and it's another one to land the treble for Happy Tim. And this is Give It Some Teddy.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Loves it here. I think he's won the final of this series in the past. He's shown enough the last twice to indicate a return to the winner's enclosure is imminent. He's got an ideal draw if the sometimes present bias is in operation. And it won't inconvenience him if it isn't, because as far as not so bad anyway if they come up the middle. He's more than capable of this mark. Probably even hit it on seasonal debut when I thought he wintered terribly well, and I was surprised he wasn't completely last at York. I do think he's pretty well in now, and he's a fairly solid poke for me. I'm happy to go 3 points win on this one.
3 points win at 5-1 for John. Frog Eyes. Two of your bets with Frog Eyes on board, John?
That's perfectly all right. Frog Eyes has got 2 eyes and can keep an eye on each of them.
Good stuff. So give it some Teddy for John for his very best. And to finish the round, we're going to Quentin Franks. Come on, Quentin. Here's with a good one.
Yes, with a good one. All right, Lee. Well, in the words of Wild Cherry, press that fucking klaxon, white boy. I am going in the 16:30 at Ascot as my. There's not really much that you haven't said. You kind of look at the market, and he's just a well handicapped horse. Overcame steady fractions last time out. You look at the Sandown run that's worked out. You got V-Sight that I think it was John put up that has about a stone in hand still. It's just strong form. Berkshire Breeze is a plodder, needs further. Franz Strauss beat a roguing Australian Angel in the 8-13 Jolly blew out. Pub Crawl, I think you liked it on the Epsom run, and
very tricky horse.
Very tricky horse, hasn't shown really anything since. Sharp Combo's probably better on the all-weather. Sheerox is semi-interesting, but was on the right part of the track at Chester, and Hamarky's just a seriously well handicapped horse. I like Spencer on is the round course, middling draw in 7. It should be a lot shorter than 4-1.
It should be. I think this should be around 9-4. I'd have it top of the head. I'd have it shorter if Spencer went on it, but we can't have it all. At least it's not Turner. I mean, every time there's a Shergar Cup, anybody but Turner. He's
bloody winning it though.
I know. This is it. She does me a good ride. Never, ever. Absolutely never does Turner do me a good ride, ever. Never does me a turn. No, and never does me a good ride either. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the best bets there. We've got some good ones. I think there's some good. We've got a Klaxon as well with Hamarky. I said we wouldn't tip at the Shergar Cup. We have. You
nearly had another one, Lee, as well, because the fourth on my list was one of Quintin's in the Sweet Solera Navaki.
No, the Burke horse. Yeah, stride form. That's stride form. As John says, John puts it much better than stride form.
And can I just put a word in for one of my favourite horses of the year, because I think he's just improved that much. This might be a bridge too far, but he's running in the old Prix Maurice de Gheest at Deauville.
On Sunday, yeah.
Harry 3, who I think is massively overpriced at 20-1.
Absolutely, yeah. You picked a gem there, because there's been very few horses that have blasted up that stand side at York this season, and I would give that the utmost respect. That is a very interesting choice. In fact, I tell you what, we'll start. I mean, I know like some of you chaps might not look too in depth, but look, the Prix Maurice de Gheest is a fantastic race. I think it's one of the races of the season. 7-2 Naval Crown, 9-2 Artorias, Quentin's horse in the July Cup, and ran very well Artorias, I thought, in the July Cup. Perfect Power, 9-2, Harry 3, 8-1 now, Andy. Harry.
Is it? I saw 20s earlier.
No. That's Fantasy Island prices. It's gone.
Must have been the Fantasy Island odds checker prices then.
It's yeah. Minzal, 8-1 that won the Hackwood. Again, I didn't expect that one to do that, but it did. Rohan's 20-1. That's quite big as well for an each way monkey like him. Quentin, of the horses I've mentioned there, anything that kind of sort of like sticks out at your end?
Probably Harry 3, to be honest. What price did you say it was?
Andy said he's seen some.
I can only find one on odds checker, which was 20-1 with eight sport, and they're the only people I can find a price with.
Yeah, best.
It says 20-1, but I mean that might be complete Fantasy Island. I can't find anyone else who's priced it up.
Best I've got. I'm just looking now live as we record. It is 8-1 Ladbrokes, 7-1 Coral, 8-1 Paddy Power, 8-1 Betfair, 7-1 Sky Bet. Yeah, it's a great listen. I think it's a fantastic race. You know, somewhat like John. You don't like that Gareth, do you, Charlie Hills?
Well, you know, I'm nothing particularly against Gareth.
No, but you said in past. Sorry, I just sunk in there what you said. But yeah, I mean, it's one of them at 16s. You know, it's that kind of horse that always ends up popping up, and you think, how's that one? But what a race that is! Yeah, I'm going to say I can't see it in this. This is a really good race. Can't predict the winner though. But Harry 3 mentioned for Andy. Quentin sort of likes Harry 3. Not sure he's that bothered at 8s though. Quentin, do I get that feeling?
No. I'm trying to pull up the card now and have a quick scan. For what price was Highfield Princess?
Highfield Princess is 8.
Yeah.
12s with Sky Bet.
Yeah, that might have been. I'll have a spin through and maybe put some thoughts out on the old tweet machine. Well, I totally forgot the race was this weekend, to be honest. So
a corker of a race Sunday. The Maurice de Gheest, that is definitely one. If you're in the household and you're not pissed or you're not with kids, one to watch. Okay, we'll go through tomorrow's action. We'll leave the Shergar Cup to the experts, and we'll look at Newmarket first of all.
Which are experts on the Shergar Cup?
Yeah, Josh Appiafe and things.
No, he only does a racing league.
Is he the racing league? Who does the Shergar Cup these? I don't know. I don't even know.
John's in it.
I don't know. If Adele Mulrennan does the paddock job, are you going to explode again?
Depends what you mean by explode, doesn't it?
ITV is not good for John's health.
No. Oysters and things like that. Anyway, we'll come on to the Sweet Solera because Quentin's tipped in that and Andy nearly tipped in that. So we kind of get where you guys are at.
Yeah.
I just want to throw a curveball that if they did go slow and it was tactical, Lady Alara would be best placed to take advantage. She definitely has the most gears to be able to quicken up. Ivory Madonna's a complete shithouse. I agree with Quentin about the tail carriage of Lakota Sioux. It's always a concern going. It's absolutely. It just whirls around like a propeller. It's not great.
It's going to get worse at the death camp as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Running for that yard. I mean, it's a terrible yard. So Lady Alara, that has definitely got the most foot. I'm 100% adamant that she can quicken up, so she could cause a shock if it was messy. So that's for punters, maybe in running punters, or maybe you think it could be a crawl in the race. And Lady Alara, I think, will be best placed to take advantage.
I would say that the Johnstons have got a good record in the race, haven't they? I mean, since 2014 they've gone 1-2, 1-1, 2-3.
Yeah,
If you were following kilt form.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, it's typical kilt form, really. Yeah. That they just might decide to bomb out and
kilt
just
bomb at kilt track, isn't it?
Yeah, they just might bomb out. And I mean, it's the Doiler as well. I mean, if you look at do Doiler's stats at 7 furlongs Newmarket.
Expert jockey farm as well.
It's yeah. I mean, the Doiler. That's where he rides expert jockey.
7 furlongs to 1 mile.
Expert. There we go. Yeah, it kind of adds up. That you probably shouldn't underestimate the kilt horse, really. I suppose, given the statistics.
I'd give the top one a chance as well. Old Ismail Mohammed's horse, Al Sayoub.
Did it nice?
She would be like 8 of the last 10 winners that they've all won over this course and distance. So track form, there you go. If you want some track form.
We've had stride form, track form.
You've got stride form. So Al Sayoub's won over course and distance. So's Davina Grace. So there's another 2 on the track stats. But I still think, you know, I agree with Quentin. I think that the Burke horse is the one who's got the biggest go forward, if you like. Yeah. There was a bit of 4-1 earlier about that.
Yeah, there was actually about 13-2, 6-1. Yeah, he has been really.
I thought I was doing well getting 4s.
It's the Quentin Franks anti-purse service members that have hammered that. Okay, we'll go to the Phoenix Stakes at the Curragh. What a corker this is! I say, there's some fantastic racing, because if anyone can sort of bet in this confidently, like with chest out, Blogger probably will do, and he's blocked the bar stewards this week as well.
I think your mention of the Blogger is he's got to be he's got a feature in the best tweet of the week, wasn't he? Because somebody had tweeted today that only the Blogger can stop Liz Truss now. Get him on.
Absolutely, but I mean the thing regards to this race, I mean, can any of us pin our colours to the mast at the prices and say anything is worth a bet? It's a very good race. I think it's priced up pretty accurately. At the prices, I'd probably favour Little Big Bear at 5-2 currently than Bradsell at 13-8. But I don't think there's a lot in it. Thoughts, chaps?
I'm marginally favour Bradsell, but I wouldn't be backing it at the price, if that makes. I think it's a race I'd just want to sit and watch and enjoy. But I think, you know, Bradsell has got a pretty tasty rating, hasn't he? And Coventry form is working out pretty well. So I wouldn't. Let's put it this way: I wouldn't want to lay him.
No,
that's
I think it's priced up perfectly now. Now, Blackbeard was originally put in 4-1, and I laughed at that. That's now 8s. Shartash is 10. That's about right. Them 2 8s and 10s. Persian Force third in at 5s. Little Big Bear. I think that's a little big at 5-2. I thought it was a huge performance last time. I accept I might have got the second wrong, Yosemite Valley, in terms of what I thought it could do. It probably ran to 100, which does put Little Big Bear on about 110, Bradsell 114. So maybe the prices are about right, but I think if gun to the head, I'd be Little Big Bear at 5-2 over Bradsell for some reason. Don't know why. I just think maybe more progression from Little Big Bear. Quentin, any thoughts on it?
There's not really you look at these races and you normally try and find a weak link at the top of the market or the middle of the market, and there really isn't one. They kind of got it spot on. The only way I'd have it round, I'd probably have Sartash to confirm placings with Blackbeard further back than ideal than that one at last time out, and found trouble in running to boot. He would probably be shade over, but not enough for me to have a bet. Top of the market wise looks absolutely spot on. I think we said the Windsor Castle didn't look too good. That's worked out. we did say physical progression from Little Big Bear would come, and that seems to be what he's doing. Bradsell was obviously impressive in the Coventry, caught out on the wing and running away with it, essentially. Market looks spot on bar. I'd have Satashin as 4th favourite.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually, because like you say, Shartash didn't have the run of the race and still beat Blackbeard, which is why I came to the conclusion in the first place. Why is Blackbeard 4-1? And why has the official handicapper got Blackbeard top rated 115 in the race, and it's an 8-1 perk? An idiot. Anyway, moving forwards, before we go on to Haddock and the Rose Lancaster, I thought I'd point something funny out today. Linda Perrott, she started training winners. I know, shock horror. Right, listen though. The funniest line I heard all day was that Uncle Peter's returned from Hong Kong. So she actually said that on Racing TV. He's brought the gear. Uncle Peter's brought the gear. We're saved from King Kong. So Linda Perrott over the next few days, watch her fly. And you ought to see she had 2 winners today at Musselburgh.
She had a winner. She had a dead eater at the Air the previous night as well.
Yes. Uncle Peter's brought the King Kong gear in, the King Kong carrots for Linda to have an autumn period here. And this is the thing. So watch Linda Perrott's runners, I think, over the next week or so.
In the last 28 days before today, she'd gone 1 from 36. The PRB figures were pretty poor, and she was on the winners above expected was minus 2.24. So the old juice better work. So Chinese Spirit won today. Monhammer won. Chinese Spirit's in again tomorrow. It's got a whole host of runners at Air tomorrow.
Monhammer, Retirement Beckons. That's in again tomorrow. What the key words here are Uncle Peter.
Does anyone know who Uncle Peter is?
Evidence is key. It's obviously Linda's uncle, and Uncle Peter's return from King Kong. That's all we need to know. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that gift over the next 2 days.
I wonder if Uncle Peter knows Uncle Rural Gourmet.
Well, if he's been out that way, who knows? It's roosters and rabbits.
He was knocking hell out of a black rooster this morning, wasn't he?
He should be a show sponsor. I should get in touch with Gourmet. It will fit our product perfectly.
You either need them or a gin sponsor.
It is to knock my gym bill down, which is horrendous. Anyway, on to Haddock. 2 lovely races there tomorrow. We've got the London Mile qualifier at 2:25. 9 to 4-5 Electrical Storm. Any views here, chaps?
I think if Young Fire wins, I'll probably be jumping off a building. It's been a bit of a cliff horse, but I've just noticed the times on the first 2 races at Haddock this evening, and it's slower than they've given.
I know, it's terrible. I mean, that's the thing. You know, when you're planning...
About 7 seconds slow, the last sprint.
Oh, right. So, well, that's handy to know. So at least we're looking... Well, it might dry out a little bit, but yeah, we're looking at something.
I'm about 10 miles... I'm about 10 miles from the track. It is sunny at the moment, but it could be very glue-like.
Quentin, John, any thoughts in this?
Not really enjoy the ground. I did think that Young Fire might turn it on a bit here and possibly win, but I've no strong conviction on the race, to be honest.
I thought, right, Mr. McCann ran terribly dead last time out in the Britannia, but before that, it's not too bad, is it? 3 3/4 lengths behind Star of India at Chester. After that, ran in the German Guineas behind Maljoom. I did think back off 99, maybe a bit of digging the ground might be key to him. You know, like maybe that's it. Maybe he doesn't handle very quick ground. I don't know.
That's the mare I'd be a bit worried about.
Well, absolutely. I'm totally guessing. I'm just trying to make a case for Carlton Palmer's. It's one of them that you won't be surprised if it won off 99.
Does anybody know if he's doing any better since he teamed up with?
He actually got off to a good start, and he's not really massively improved his stats.
I got the impression he sort of returned to being a rich bloke pissing about.
Yeah, obviously Ebro River and Fool's Rush in last week at Chester was very beneficial. I think bar that, he was going through quite a lean spell. prior to that. But yeah,
Still on the wanker list then.
Yes. Quentin, any view here?
Don't really like Electrical Storm. The form stacks up. But he's just a bit hangy for me in the finish. Not markedly so or not markedly doggy, but there's just something there that I don't like. You've got the Trinidad, who's a York horse. Every chance he gets a solo here, but the ground was a nagging doubt. Given he had blown up on that before, I don't think I'll be having a bet. If I had a gun to my head, it would be Mr. McCann, but yeah, 11-2's going. He's now 9-2-4. I can kind of see that prize with ground doubts at Haydock.
Well, of course, Mr. McCann is owned by the footballers, I believe. Is it? I can't remember.
It's the same lot who own that box to box and that. I think Paul Scholes, Michael, Alan Greaves, all people like that in that. I think. Just talking about Carlton's stats this year, I'll quickly run them. 28 winners from 207 runners. Percentage runners beaten figures are not great, to be honest with you. And the winners above expected is below expected by
there you go.
About four winners. If you'd have backed all his runners at SP, you would have been doing 74.5 points.
So Owens made the changes and made no fucking difference whatsoever.
Not
He's brought us up and he said, I need a good 45 minutes from you, Carlton. And nothing's happened.
My overriding memory of Carlton Palmer is in that Graham Taylor documentary with Graham Taylor shouting, Carlton! Have you ever seen that one? The one where he loses his job. Forget what it is.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, he's shouting at the linesman.
You've cost me my job.
You've cost me my job.
Yeah.
Don't mind not take that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the finale before we close the show. 3:00 Haddock. Grocer Jack just has to reproduce the last run, doesn't it? The figure was monstrous. Just do the same again.
The shirt's found one here, hasn't he?
I mean, change the tactics. I mean, they've been holding this up in France and wherever they've run it before, I didn't like the horse because it always pulled on and then ran on, and you think, well, why spend you? But I think that was the key, that the shirt just said, just get on with it. And it's got on with it, and it just absolutely pulverised it. The time backs it up. I know, Cadillac's a bit of a shithouse and stuff, but the time does back it up.
It was commensurate with the 116 horse, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing here gets near this. If Grocer Jack reproduces the last run, then it's forget.
Game over. It's game over.
Game over. Are we in agreement with that, chap?
Yeah. My one slight doubt is the ground. And that always is. It always is at Haydock, because I never know when it's going to be. And the one horse I would like to see run well, because I like the horse, is Intelligent. I think.
Yeah,
he could nick a race. I think he could nick a race at this level, and he might have just run into one at this level. And I wouldn't rule out Royal Champion. If you were looking for a couple to sling in forecasts, Intelligent. I thought Royal Champion ran a really good race last time out. Looked like the horse I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I just think that's a bit short of Grocer Jack. I genuinely think that is like sort of 100 and late teens in terms of a horse. Quentin, final view.
Grocer Jack's got the figures on the clock. You did get a kind of uncontested lead there. You got Peter the Great here, Maria's Diamond probably pressing for it, but I don't think he needs to lead. As you said, he's quite happy to sit behind. Brentford Hope would be of interest in the kind of place market. If I want to see a few more times on the round course tonight, but soft ground form pieces back on. I've always thought he's kind of up to listed weak Group 3 level. There'll be a large price in the place market, and there's a few in there above him I don't particularly like. But yeah, obviously Grocer Jack's the one to beat.
Good stuff. Cracking show, gents. Really appreciate your input for this show. We're back on Sunday, myself, John, and Lord Malvo, Chris, to go through the week shenanigans and talk rubbish for 45 to 50 minutes and slag a few people off as usual. So have a great weekend. Get on all our bets, including the Klaxon, including the treble, including Andy's best bets, because Andy's in form and caning us this year, and John's as well at the Lurkle. That's all from us. Bye for now.